We start this morning with some breaking news. This is video of a fire burning in Jefferson County. The Quarry Fire is causing mandatory evacuations. Nearly 600 homes there in Jefferson County have been told to evacuate so far.
Check out this video of the Quarry Fire in Jefferson County around 1:30 this morning. You can see just how big the flames are there. And we've seen this overnight where the flames will ebb and then they'll flare back up just like this. And then Holly Duckworth sent us this video looking at the fire from Littleton. She says she's about 6 miles away from it. This is one of several fires burning in Colorado right now. Good morning, I'm Corey Rose.
And I'm Jordan Chavez. Our Brianna Fernandez is live in Jefferson County this morning. Brianna, as you were mentioning before we went into the break, this fire grew so fast from just a few acres in an open space to now more than 100 acres.
Yeah, so that wildfire is changing quickly, and it's been changing. We've been seeing it firsthand, actually. So when we were driving down C-470 to get to the scene, we could see that orange glow. We could see those flames and that smoke just pouring out of this area. Now, as soon as we arrived here, we could see that orange glow. We can kind of see it at the moment. I don't know if my photographer, Joe Swanson, can actually zoom into that area so you can see those smoky conditions. But if you can see them, we're seeing them, but not as bad as what we saw them around 3 a.m. when we got here. So let me just break down what we know so far. So we know it went from 4 acres to more than 100 in a short period of time. So right now we're just off C-470 along Deer Creek Canyon and Grizzly Drive. The fire now being called the Quarry Fire. It's moving south to east, and officials say the fire was first spotted around 9 last night by a Jefferson County Sheriff's deputy who was patrolling an open space area. So right now I have seen multiple agencies from West to North Metro Fire. Crews tell me that there's also mandatory evacuations that have been issued for nearly 600 homes. So firefighters were literally going door to door and also sending out alerts, letting folks know what is going on. Firefighters are also doing whatever they can early this morning, but it's of course still dark and hard for crews to tackle this fire. Take a listen to what they had to say.
When you've got several fires burning at the same time now within a relative close distance to one another with the Lyons Fire in the Larimer County, the Alexander Fire, and now the Quarry Fire here in South Jeffco. The one thing we don't have to worry about is getting them in the area. They're already here fighting the 2 previous fires that are still ongoing, so that's beneficial, although you start to diminish resources.
Now back out here live, you can see Jefferson County Sheriff's Office blocking the area where I'm currently standing right now. Firefighters tell me that they don't know of any injuries or structure at the moment, if there were any damages because of this wildfire. Of course, this is still a developing situation. We are getting information by the minute. So once we get more information from both firefighters and the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, we'll definitely keep you updated both on air and online. For now, I'm live here in Jefferson County. Brianna Fernandez for 9 News.
Brianna, thank you. An evacuation center is set up at Dakota Ridge High School.
That is where our Courtney Yoon joins us now from live. Courtney, you have seen people showing up there this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Jordan and Corey. There are residents here who have been evacuated. We spoke with a small group of neighbors earlier this morning, and they seem like they're in good spirits, but they're very tired. A lot of them heard about this fire late last night around 9 or 9:30, got the warning, and have been tracking the fire ever since. And eventually, they unfortunately got those mandatory evacuation notices. As we've been saying, there's about 600 homes under a mandatory evacuation order right now. I'm going to tell you the names of the subdivisions. It's Deer Creek Mesa, Sampson, Maxwell, McKinney, and Murphy subdivisions southwest of Ken Caryl are all under a mandatory evacuation order right now. Jefferson County Sheriff's Office deputies and firefighters went door to door knocking, telling people that they had to leave. There was one person that we spoke with earlier this morning who says they only had about 15 minutes to grab their things. He looked out his window and he could see the smoke. He could smell it inside of his home, and he knew it was an emergency situation where they had to get out of there as quickly as possible. Let's take a listen at what he had to say.
You know, I've got a lot of confidence in the firefighters, and hopefully we have enough defensible area around our home to where we'll be okay. Most of the homes up there are all stone. They have concrete tile roofs. They're stucco, so I'm hoping everything will be okay.
It sounds like neighbors have been mitigating their homes, which is really good, and they're hopeful that they can see their homes again once this fire is over. Overall, a small group of people were here earlier this morning. Like I was saying, they seem like they're in good spirits. People seem calm. There are people that are staying inside the shelter here at Dakota Ridge High School. The Red Cross says it's free services for anyone under that mandatory evacuation order. I spoke with the volunteers there this morning. A lot of the Red Cross is comprised of volunteers who opened these shelters for evacuees. They told me that they're pretty tired as well, that there's about 10 wildfires in Wyoming and Colorado in their region that they're responding to right now. So this is something that we're seeing all across our region when it comes to wildfires and people needing a place to stay. If you do need a place to stay, the address here is 13399 West Coal Mine Avenue in Littleton. That's for people under the mandatory evacuation order. Live in Littleton, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.
All right, Courtney, thank you. And of course, this is just one of the fires that we are following this morning. Conditions, of course, outside are ripe for fires like these, and those hot and dry conditions, unfortunately, are sticking around today.
Right. Not only that, but we have yet another source of wildfire smoke to deal with. Let's get to 9 News weather impact team meteorologist Chris Bianchi, and it's because of all of that smoke that you're declaring a weather impact day today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Corey. And yes, we are dealing with some of that wildfire smoke, not only from those fires that you're seeing there in the foothills, but also you're seeing some of that coming from California as well. We'll get into detail on that in just a second. But one of the issues that we just showed you a second ago is we had those flames visible for us in the foothills at 5:06 in the morning. That is not common. Even for fires here in Colorado, even for some of the big fires. Last one I can really remember where he had that would be the Waldo Canyon fire outside Colorado Springs, where he had those big embers, big fires in the middle of the night like this. And part of the problem that we've got is that it's so dry out there. We've got relative humidity about 25% right now, and normally this time of the night that relative humidity is closer to these numbers, 70, 80%, 50, 60, 70, 80%. It's very, very dry out there, and that's part of the concern right now. Now, here's the bit of good news. Those winds are relatively light right now. That's probably keeping that fire not from making any big runs, but that fire's relatively maybe slowly spreading rather than making, again, big runs. 15 and 20 mile an hour winds right now for us in the foothills, and this is as a cold front moves through the region. Now, we've declared a weather impact day all day for today. That's going to be for bad air quality. That's for ground ozone and for wildfire smoke. That smoke will be increasing for today. So obviously just try and limit your time outdoors. Today is not the day for a long run, long bike ride outside, things like that. And if you do have to spend a long time outside, I might advise that you wear a mask, especially an N95 mask, to filter out that wildfire smoke that'll be in our skies for today. For today, mid-90s, bad air quality. It is hazy, it is smoky out there, as I mentioned, and those overall headlines, that fire danger, lighter wind for today, but that smoke increases. Now, I feel like I've been a bit of a harbinger here for bad news for the last little while. I do have some good news to get into. Friday and next week, we get a couple of rounds of moisture, especially next week could be a really meaningful amount of it. So we're going to get into some good news coming up in my full forecast in just a couple minutes.
Thank you. So another fire that we're watching is the Stone Canyon fire. It's already grown to more than 1,300 acres, and it's dangerously close to the town of Lyons.
Yeah, that's right. Evacuations for both people and animals are underway, and they have been expanding. The Boulder County Sheriff's Office says that they had deputies even going door to door to help people get out fast. People in several neighborhoods north of Lyons and those living in town north of Broadway and east of 5th Avenue are under mandatory evacuation. The fire started around 1:30 yesterday afternoon, and since then it has grown to more than 1,300 acres. Boulder County officials confirmed 2 structures did burn. The Stone Canyon fire is only about 8 miles from the massive Alexander Mountain fire nearby. Boulder County Sheriff Curtis Johnson says that close proximity allowed them to get air resources to the Lyons area quickly.
I am sorry this is happening in your community. You know, I have been on pins and needles since 10:30 yesterday when the Alexander fire kicked off, knowing that conditions are really ripe for bad fire. And we're going to do everything we can to stop this fire.
Sheriff Johnson says that the fire has been jumping roads, and he says that the weather conditions are about as bad as they can be for crews fighting this fire. It is hot and it is dry out there. Those conditions are doing no favors for the crews working on the Alexander Mountain fire in Larimer County either. It has now burned more than 5,000 acres.
It is still 0% contained this morning. Officials ordered new mandatory evacuations as the fire grew. Even with nearly 300 firefighters on the ground and a number of helicopters and planes dropping retardant and water from nearby reservoirs. Crews have not been able to stop the fire from growing in 3 separate directions. They say the weather conditions aren't helping.
Again, we're at 0% containment currently. I hope that we're going to see that start to improve, but it's going to, really depend on Mother Nature giving us a break. Looking forward with our forecast, looks like we're hot, dry, and windy until Friday.
As far as we know, no one's been hurt, no structures have been damaged. We're going to be following these fires all morning long. You can stay up to date on conditions and impacts, evacuation notices anytime on the 9 News app or streaming on 9 News Plus. Now let's check in with Erica Lopez with your morning commute.
Right now, as you get ready to head out the door, we are following some road work on I-25. We've got left lanes closed on northbound I-25 between Orchard and Hampton. So a couple different cameras kind of showing the crews out here this morning. On the left-hand side, we can see on that far side where the northbound closures are this morning. On the southbound side, we've also got 1 lane closed off here at Bellevue. On the right-hand side of your screen, a little bit closer to 225, we can see those left lane closures. So would not say we're dealing with any significant delays. Of course, just overnight road work and lane closures can be a headache as the morning drive continues. Want to show you where this is on our map as we take you over that way now. Of course, no delays on our map, but just something to watch out for. I don't have an estimated time of reopening right now as far as what we look like across the rest of our area, though. We are looking just fine and in the green out here on 225.
Erica, thank you. So the fires are bringing even more wildfire smoke to the metro area. This smoke brings particles that can irritate your eyes, nose, and your throat. It can irritate your lungs too.
Yeah, so even those of us who aren't in those risks that are those at-risk groups, will likely feel this. There's a whole blend of respiratory issues going on right now. You've got your smoke, you have the air pollution, you have heat, plus you add in your regular allergy season.
There's still lung inflammation and impacts on lung function. With healthy people, these might be a little more transient, but still immediate impacts on inflammation in our airways. And then there's also the particles in the air, right, that can irritate our eyes, our nose, our throat, kind of as they enter our body.
So doctors say that the best thing that you can do is stay inside in air conditioning. And if you do have to be outside, wear an N95 mask.
So crews in Loveland have been fighting the Alexander Mountain fire for a day and a half now. And so Planet Fitness in Loveland is offering them showers and massage loungers for free.
Yeah, this is one of on East Eisenhower Boulevard. It is open 24 hours. And as Corey mentioned, we're going to be following these 3 fires all morning long. You can stay up to date on the latest conditions, the impacts that they have on you anytime on the 9 News app or streaming on 9 News Plus. Right now, let's get over to Chris Bianchi for another check of the forecast.
Yeah, and before we kind of get into that forecast, this is the image that tells the story here, folks. What you're looking at, this is from the Four Seasons Hotel in downtown Denver, and the middle left-hand side of your screen, you can indeed see the Quarry Fire that is burning about 35 miles or so, 40 miles or so as the bird flies from downtown Denver. And again, on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see that fire just burning bright, which is not common for 5:13 in the morning. Usually fires during the overnight hours here in Colorado, they will stand down, so to speak, which means that they'll relax. Relative humidity increases, winds relax. So usually you get a bit of a quote-unquote break, and you can see, looks like that fire maybe increasing quite a bit there. That's there's no other way to put it. It's a pretty ominous view from downtown Denver to see a fire burning that brightly this morning. Certainly thinking about all the firefighters that are battling those blazes, all of you out there that have been impacted in various ways by these fires. And here's another impact from those fires. We're also going to see the smoke from not only the fires here in Colorado, but also wildfire smoke moving in from California as well. And so that means that air quality today will be notably worse than what it's been over the last couple of days. Air quality alert in place till at least 4 p.m. for today. That smoke will be thick at times for us. And again, we'll have more details on that smoke, but also some details on when we might get some relief coming up in my full forecast in a couple minutes.